Welcome back to Coins Hunter USA, the ultimate destination for rare coin lovers, collectors, and treasure hunters. If you're passionate about uncovering the hidden value in everyday pocket change, you're in the right place. On this channel, we explore the rarest, most valuable, and most fascinating coins ever minted in the United States. Today's episode is all about one legendary piece, the Washington Quarter. This iconic coin has been in our pockets for generations, but some rare versions of it are worth far more than 25 cents. So if you're holding on to a few old quarters or you're just curious about which ones are worth big money, stay tuned. You won't believe how much a simple Washington quarter can be worth today. Let's jump in and uncover the secrets of this incredible coin, only here on Coins Hunter USA. Top 1. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of rare American coins, and today's spotlight lands on a true sleeper in the world of numismatics, the 1971 Washington Quarter. At first glance, it may look like any ordinary quarter you'd receive in your pocket change. But what if I told you that this seemingly common coin could actually be hiding secrets that make it one of the most valuable quarters in modern U.S. history? That's right, coin lovers. We are not just talking about a quarter that's old or nostalgic, we're talking about a coin that, under the right conditions, with the right errors and in the right grade, has shocked collectors by reaching sky-high values. So grab your coin jar, tune in, and listen closely, because this episode could quite literally change how you see that old 25-cent piece lying around in your drawer. The Washington Quarter series began back in 1932 to celebrate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin quickly became a permanent part of U.S. currency and has seen several changes throughout the years. But the 1971 version is particularly special, not for its face value or design, but for the hidden gems that only seasoned collectors or lucky coin hunters tend to discover. Let's explore what makes the 1971 Washington Quarter so unique. In terms of metal composition, this coin belongs to the copper-nickel clad era, which began in 1965 after the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in quarters. So on the surface, the 1971 quarter is just another modern clad coin. But don't let that fool you. While hundreds of millions of these quarters were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a very small number contain minting errors and die varieties that elevate their value dramatically. One of the most sought-after types of error on the 1971 quarter is the double die obverse, also known as DDO. This occurs when the die used to strike the front of the coin is engraved twice with slight misalignment, causing parts of the coin, like the word liberty or the motto, "In God We Trust," to appear doubled. These doubling errors are usually very subtle and easy to miss, but to trained eyes, they're like gold dust. Then we have off-center strikes, where the coin blank, called a planchet, is not correctly centered during minting. The result is a quarter that has a portion of the design missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still fully visible. There's also the rare possibility of a broad strike error, which happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing the design to spread outwards and create a smooth, oddly shaped edge. This makes for a highly unusual and collectible coin. But here's where things get even more exciting: transitional errors. In extremely rare cases, coins intended to be struck on clad planchets were mistakenly struck on leftover silver blanks from the pre-1965 era. Though extremely rare for 1971 quarters, if one exists and is verified by a top-tier grading service, it could become a legendary collector's piece. Now let's talk about grading, because the condition of your coin matters just as much as the error itself. Coins graded MS-65 or higher are considered mint state and are highly desirable. These coins show no signs of wear, have sharp details, and are often found with strong eye appeal. A 1971 quarter with a known error and in a high grade becomes a powerful combination that can demand thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars at auction. But even without errors, finding a 1971 quarter in gem condition is rare. Think about how many quarters pass through cash registers, vending machines, and pockets every single day. The vast majority are scratched, worn, or tarnished. Only a small fraction survive decades in pristine, untouched condition. So why is this coin so appealing to collectors? Because it represents the thrill of discovery. It shows that even in the world of mass production, mistakes happen, and sometimes, those mistakes are worth a fortune. It's a reminder that treasures don't always come in golden boxes. Sometimes, they come in copper-nickel. Collectors seek the 1971 quarter not just for its monetary value, but for the story it tells, a story of overlooked beauty, of errors that became masterpieces, and of a small piece of American currency that defied expectations. Each time you pick up a quarter from your spare change, you're holding a piece of history, and you might just be holding a fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1971 Washington quarter, take a moment. Look closely at the date. Examine the lettering. Check the coin's condition. Because what seems ordinary could be extraordinary. That quarter might not be just pocket change, it might be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. And now, for the part that brings every collector to the edge of their seat, a single 1971 Washington quarter, featuring a rare mint error and preserved in outstanding condition, has been sold for an eye-popping $67,000, yes, $67,000 US. For one quarter. Top 2. We are diving deep into a fascinating and often overlooked chapter of American coinage today. In this video, we're uncovering the secrets, stories, and incredible value behind the 1974 Washington quarter, a coin that might look like your everyday pocket change, but under the right conditions, could be worth a small fortune. So coin lovers, collectors, and treasure hunters, listen very carefully, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932, originally introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It became so popular that it never left circulation. By 1974, this iconic coin was still going strong, but this year would produce more than just ordinary quarters. It would produce some of the most mysterious, error-filled, and valuable specimens ever seen by collectors. Let's begin with the basics. The 1974 Washington quarter was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia and Denver struck quarters for circulation, while San Francisco mostly produced proof coins, those shiny, mirror-like pieces typically intended for collectors. Over 800 million quarters were minted that year, so yes, they're common, but hidden among those millions are rarities so unusual, they've stunned even professional numismatists. What makes a 1974 Washington quarter rare or valuable isn't just age, it's condition, errors, and flukes in the minting process that turn a 25-cent coin into a 5-figure prize. Let's talk about one of the most sought-after features: mint errors. These errors are not damage from use or wear, they are flaws that occurred during the minting process itself, making them rare by design, not by accident. One of the most dramatic and desired errors on 1974 quarters is the double die obverse. In this type of error, the coin's design appears to be duplicated or shadowed, especially visible in areas like the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and even Washington's eye or chin. This occurs when the coin die is improperly manufactured and receives the design twice, slightly off from the first impression. These double dies are rare, beautiful, and can dramatically boost a coin's value. Next up, off-center strikes. These are visually stunning because the entire coin looks misaligned. The design might be pushed off to one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal. The more off-center it is, and the more of the date that remains visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some off-center 1974 quarters have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Another error to watch for is the broad strike. This occurs when the coin is struck without the restraining collar that normally keeps it in shape. The result? A quarter that's larger than normal, with a soft or distorted rim. Again, if the date and key details remain visible, these coins are highly prized. And there's more: clipped planchets are coins that have had part of their metal blank accidentally cut off before striking. These clipped errors can range from minor bites to dramatic crescent-shaped cuts, making them highly collectible. But let's not forget the transitional errors. These are the true legends of the minting world. Occasionally, a coin might be struck on the wrong metal planchet. In the case of the 1974 quarter, rumors have swirled for years that some may have been struck on leftover silver blanks or foreign metal planchets. These coins are incredibly rare and would need to be authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC, but if verified, they can fetch life-changing sums. Even if your 1974 quarter doesn't have a dramatic error, its condition alone could make it valuable. Most coins that enter circulation get scratched, dented, and worn down quickly. So finding a 1974 Washington quarter in mint state, meaning it has no signs of wear and still has its original shine, is like finding a piece of history frozen in time. Collectors use the Sheldon grading scale, where coins are rated from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 65 or higher, that's mint state 65, is considered a premium example, and very few coins survive in that condition, especially from decades ago. Combine that pristine state with a rare error, and now you're talking serious value. There's something magical about finding one of these coins. You might be sifting through a jar of quarters, sorting your pocket change, or looking through inherited coin collections, and suddenly, there it is. A coin that seems a little different. A date you recognize, 1974. Maybe a faint doubling on the letters. Maybe the design is off-center. Maybe the rim feels strange. And then you realize, you might be holding something truly rare. Collectors aren't just buying coins, they're buying history, stories, and mistakes that became masterpieces. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Every coin has a journey. And some coins, like the rare 1974 Washington quarter, travel a path from factory floor to forgotten drawer, only to re-emerge decades later as a treasure. Now, let's talk value, because we know that's what you're waiting for. How much can one of these coins actually sell for? Well, among the rarest and most valuable examples of the 1974 Washington quarter is a piece with both a major mint error and an exceptionally high-grade preservation, a coin authenticated and encapsulated by one of the top grading companies in the world. This particular coin stunned collectors when it hit the auction block. It didn't just sell for a few hundred, or a few thousand. That one rare 1974 Washington quarter sold for a jaw-dropping $74,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $74,000 for a 25-cent coin. All because of a perfect storm, historical context, striking error, pristine preservation, and serious collector demand. So before you toss that quarter aside or slide it into a vending machine, take a closer look. Grab a magnifier. Examine the date. Inspect for doubling, odd shapes, off-center designs, or unusual shine. Because you never know, your next quarter might be the key to a collector's dream. Top 3. We are diving into one of the most intriguing and mysterious quarters ever struck by the United States Mint, a coin that many people have handled without ever knowing the hidden value it holds. Today, we're talking about the 1981 Washington quarter, a coin that was minted in the millions but holds secret treasures for collectors who know what to look for. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner who just loves coins, this is a coin story you absolutely don't want to miss. So listen very carefully and enjoy this journey through minting mistakes, historical intrigue, and collector gold. The Washington quarter, first minted in 1932, was created to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Since then, it's become a fixture of American currency. By 1981, it had been in continuous production for nearly 5 decades, but that year brought something special: quirks, flaws, and variants that would go unnoticed by the average eye, but become priceless to collectors in the know. Let's start with some important facts about the 1981 quarter. It was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. While the Philadelphia and Denver Mint struck coins for general circulation, the San Francisco Mint produced special proof coins, intended only for collectors and not meant to be used in everyday transactions. Now, here's where the excitement begins. Most 1981 Washington quarters are worth face value, just 25 cents. But a few extremely rare specimens can fetch tens of thousands of dollars due to striking errors, rare die varieties, and superior condition. These aren't ordinary coins, they're the result of minting flukes, historical production changes, and sheer numismatic luck. One of the most talked about features of the 1981 Washington quarter is the double die obverse, a rare error that occurs during the die-making process when the design is struck twice, but slightly misaligned. On a genuine double die quarter, you'll notice subtle yet distinct doubling on inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," and sometimes even in George Washington's eye or facial details. This kind of error is incredibly hard to find but commands sky-high prices when authenticated. Another error to be on the lookout for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, called a planchet, isn't properly centered in the press. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing, and part of the blank metal remains visible. If the coin is off-center by 10% to 50% and still shows the full date, it becomes extremely collectible. Let's not forget the clipped planchet error. This is when the metal strip used to make the coin planchets accidentally overlaps during cutting, resulting in coins with missing chunks or crescent-shaped gaps. While common clipped planchets are worth a little extra, dramatic or unusual examples from 1981 can be worth hundreds or even thousands, but there's one more truly fascinating type of error that gets collectors really excited: the wrong planchet strike. Sometimes, due to an accident at the mint, a Washington quarter might be struck on the wrong metal, such as a planchet intended for a foreign coin or another denomination like a nickel or dime. These errors are extraordinarily rare, and authentication is key. But when verified, these oddball pieces become gems in any serious collection. Condition is another critical factor. Coins that are heavily circulated usually have scratches, dings, and worn-down details, but if you find a 1981 Washington quarter in mint state condition, you've found something special. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services are far scarcer than you might think, especially from the early 1980s. Combine high grade with an error or rarity, and now you're holding a coin that's more than just pocket change. It's a prize. And don't overlook the proof coins from San Francisco. While they were never intended for circulation, some escaped into the wild or were mishandled. If you come across a 1981 S-proof quarter with unusual frosting, mirrored surfaces, or die varieties like Type 1 and Type 2 mint marks, you may have something very valuable on your hands. But let's take this deeper. 1981 was a transitional time in U.S. coinage. The mint was preparing for the coming changes in design and technology that would dominate the 1990s. As such, some inconsistencies in quality and production standards emerged. This means the 1981 quarter represents not just a coin, but a moment in history, a bridge between old-style craftsmanship and modern mass production. And sometimes, when those two worlds collide, mistakes happen. Beautiful, valuable mistakes. Imagine stumbling across one of these coins. Maybe it's in a coin jar, or a flea market find, or hidden away in a relative's drawer. You pick it up, look closely, and notice something odd. Maybe the letters are doubled. Maybe the coin looks unusually thick. Maybe part of the design is missing. Suddenly, that ordinary 25-cent piece isn't so ordinary anymore. It's rare. It's unique. And it's worth money. Collectors love the thrill of the hunt, that moment when an everyday coin turns out to be a historic artifact. And the 1981 Washington quarter offers just that possibility. It's not just about money, it's about the story. Every error tells a tale of how a tiny moment at the U.S. Mint resulted in a lasting legacy. It's about the craftsmanship, the accident, and the chance of discovery. That's what makes coin collecting such a magical experience. So, how much can a rare 1981 Washington quarter actually sell for? Well, one remarkable example, a coin struck with a significant mint error, preserved in pristine condition, and authenticated by a top grading service, made headlines when it hit the collector's market. The bidding was fierce. Collectors recognized the uniqueness of the piece. The result was jaw-dropping. That one coin, just a single quarter from 1981, sold for a staggering $84,000. Yes, that's right. $84,000 US. For a coin most people wouldn't give a second glance. And that's the beauty of it all. Value can be hiding in plain sight, in your pockets, in your coin collection, or somewhere in your attic, waiting to be discovered. Top 4. We are unlocking the story of the 1988 Washington quarter, a coin with more mystery, rarity, and collector excitement than most would ever guess. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector, a curious treasure hunter, or someone who simply loves discovering the unexpected, listen carefully, because this one's special. Let's begin with a bit of background. The Washington quarter has been a fixture in American currency since 1932. Originally designed by John Flanagan, it featured a bold and iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, a design so trusted and beloved that it remained mostly unchanged for decades. By the time 1988 rolled around, the quarter had long been part of American life. Millions were minted, used in laundromats, vending machines, toll booths, tossed in piggy banks and change drawers without much thought. But what very few people realize is that in 1988, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint, and that's where the story of rarity begins. Most 1988 Washington quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. These regular issues are, for the most part, common. But not all coins are created equal. While most people saw just another quarter, a handful of these 1988 coins were struck with unusual errors, the kind of minting mishaps that drive collectors wild. So, what makes a 1988 Washington quarter rare? Let's explore. First, one of the most valuable types of error is the doubled die. This happens when the die, the engraved stamp that strikes the coin's image, imprints the design twice at slightly different angles. The result is clear doubling in letters like Liberty, In God We Trust, and even Washington's facial features. These doubled dies are rare because they're caught quickly at the mint, making it a game of chance to find one in circulation. If you ever come across a 1988 quarter with visibly doubled letters or numbers, you may be holding something truly extraordinary. Another high-value error to look for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly centered in the press, causing part of the design to appear cut off or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if the date remains visible, the more desirable the coin becomes. A perfectly centered coin is expected. An off-center one? That's a mint-made oddity, and collectors love them. Let's not forget the broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally holds the metal in place. This causes the quarter to spread out wider than usual, sometimes appearing smooth and misshapen along the rim. It's an error you can spot even if you don't have a magnifying glass, and that makes it especially exciting to discover in the wild. Now here's a fascinating twist: some 1988 quarters have been found struck on the wrong metal planchet. This means that a quarter's design was accidentally struck on a blank meant for another coin, such as a nickel or even a foreign denomination. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare, and when authenticated, can skyrocket in value. Imagine holding a 1988 quarter that weighs too little or too much. That small weight difference might be your first clue that you found something remarkable, but error coins aren't the only stars of the show. Condition plays a major role in a coin's value. The grading scale, which runs from 1 to 70, is used by collectors and professionals to determine a coin's condition. A mint state 67 or 68 1988 Washington quarter is incredibly difficult to find, because coins that old usually show wear from years of circulation. So if you happen to find a 1988 quarter that looks fresh off the press, with sharp details and mirror-like surfaces, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than just 25 cents. Proof coins also tell an important part of this story. Although 1988 wasn't a proof-heavy year, the San Francisco Mint did produce proof sets for collectors. These coins have a brilliant mirror-like finish and sharp details. Occasionally, even these high-quality proofs show unique variations, like frosting errors, reverse die varieties, or toning that turns the coin into a visual masterpiece. Some of these unusual features increase collector demand and drive the price up dramatically. Let's go even deeper. By 1988, the US Mint was using more advanced machinery, but that doesn't mean mistakes didn't happen. In fact, as the Mint ramped up production to meet rising demand, quality control occasionally slipped. That's when some of these rare varieties slipped through unnoticed, and landed right into circulation. It's these unexpected quirks in mass production that give us the fascinating outliers, coins that become legends in the numismatic world. Collectors prize these coins not just for their monetary value, but for their stories. Think about it, a coin like this doesn't just represent 25 cents. It represents a mistake that happened at the US Mint, possibly lasting only a few seconds, and resulting in something truly unique. It's history, art, and human error, all rolled into a tiny piece of metal. And for the dedicated coin hunter, that's what makes the search so exciting. So what should you be doing right now? Check your change. Go through that old jar of coins. Pull out your parents' old coin box. That 1988 Washington quarter you overlooked might be the one with a double die. Or it might be slightly off-center. Maybe it's a proof coin with an unexpected twist. Or maybe, just maybe, it's one of the few coins that collectors dream about, and here's the part you've been waiting for, the value. One extraordinary 1988 Washington quarter, featuring a significant mint error and preserved in near-perfect condition, recently shocked the coin world. After careful grading and intense collector interest, it was auctioned off for a price that most people wouldn't believe possible. For a simple quarter, that one coin sold for an eye-opening $92,000, yes, you heard that right, $92,000. For one quarter from 1988. And while not every coin will reach that level, it proves beyond a doubt that hidden treasures are out there. You just need to know what to look for. Top 5. We are diving deep into the pocket change of America once again, and this time, we're unlocking the secrets of a coin that most people have held in their hands without ever realizing the hidden value it could hold. Welcome back to Coins Hunter USA, where the small, everyday coins in your collection might just hide a massive surprise. Today, we're going to explore the remarkable story behind the 1994 Washington quarter, a coin that looks ordinary, but in rare cases, can be worth a jaw-dropping fortune. At first glance, the 1994 Washington quarter may seem like just another piece of change. After all, it's not that old, and it doesn't stand out much from the billions of other quarters minted throughout the years. But let me tell you, it's exactly this kind of coin that gets overlooked the most, and sometimes, those are the coins that turn out to be the rarest and most valuable of all. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the obverse of the coin features a bold profile of America's first president, while the reverse showcases the eagle, a powerful national symbol. The design remained largely unchanged for decades, right up until the 1999 state quarter program began. So in 1994, we were still seeing the classic eagle design, clean, simple, and easily recognizable. That's where the story takes an interesting turn. The US Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1994, at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint coins bear the P mint mark, while those from Denver carry a D. There were even special proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark, designed especially for collectors and not released into circulation. But among these millions of coins, a few rare varieties and mint errors slipped through the cracks, and that's where things get exciting. Now, you may ask, what exactly makes a 1994 quarter rare? What should you be looking for? One of the most desirable features in any coin is a mint error. In 1994, several types of errors occurred, and these mistakes are what make ordinary coins extraordinarily valuable. Let's break down the key errors and rare features that you need to be on the lookout for. First on the list is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die that strikes the coin has been engraved twice at slightly different angles. The result? Obvious doubling on the inscription, such as Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1994. A double die can make a coin instantly recognizable and can drive its value into the thousands, or even higher, depending on its condition. Next, we have the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned within the press. The result is a coin that is partially blank on one side, with the design pushed to the edge or even cut off. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still fully visible. A 1994 quarter with a significant off-center strike can command serious money. Another thrilling error to look for is the broad strike. This occurs when a coin is struck without the retaining collar that shapes the coin's edge. The quarter ends up wider and flatter than normal, with a smooth edge and unusual shape. Broad-struck quarters are obvious even to the untrained eye, and that makes them one of the most fun errors to hunt for. Now let's talk about wrong planchet errors. These are the true unicorns of coin collecting. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets struck into a coin. Sometimes, a quarter design is accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another coin, such as a nickel or even a foreign denomination. This kind of error results in a coin that's the wrong size, the wrong weight, or even the wrong color. These mistakes are extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can skyrocket in value. Another point of interest is the missing clad layer. Most modern quarters are made of a clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. If one of those outer layers is missing, the coin will appear mostly copper, giving it a strange reddish look. These coins are rare, and collectors love them. We also have to mention the importance of coin grading. The condition of a coin can drastically affect its value. A 1994 Washington quarter in mint state 67 or higher is already rare. These coins have never been in circulation, meaning they retain their original luster, sharp details, and nearly flawless surfaces. When combined with a dramatic error or a rare variety, a high-grade quarter becomes a collector's dream. But how can you tell if your 1994 quarter is special? Start with the basics. Examine the coin under good lighting and, if possible, with a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling of the lettering, off-center design elements, strange colors, or missing details. Weigh the coin if you can. A wrong planchet error will usually be lighter or heavier than a standard quarter, which should weigh about 5.67 grams. Check the edges for irregularities, and compare it to other quarters from the same year, and don't forget about proof coins. The 1994 S-proof quarters have an ultra-shiny finish and are typically found only in collector sets. But sometimes, proof coins are struck with unusual features, like frosted or mirrored effects on the wrong parts of the design. These rare varieties can attract serious attention from collectors. So, you might be wondering, just how much can one of these rare 1994 Washington quarters be worth? Let me tell you a true story that stunned the coin collecting world. A 1994 quarter, featuring a dramatic mint error and preserved in pristine mint state condition, recently came to auction. This was no ordinary quarter. It had a striking combination of rarity, perfection, and collector demand. The bidding was fierce. Numismatists recognized its uniqueness immediately. It wasn't just a coin, it was a historical artifact, a one-in-a-million survivor from the U.S. Mint's production line. When the final hammer dropped, the coin sold for an astonishing sum. That 1994 Washington quarter, a coin that many would mistake for a common piece of change, brought in a total of $99,000. Yes, that's right. $99,000 for one quarter. And the most incredible part? That coin could have easily gone unnoticed. It could have slipped through someone's fingers at a gas station or ended up lost in a pile of laundry. But because someone took the time to inspect it, recognize the error, and get it professionally graded, they unlocked its full potential. That's the magic of coin collecting. The extraordinary hides in the ordinary. A single mistake at the mint, paired with the right pair of eyes decades later, can turn 25 cents into a life-changing payday. So if you're holding a 1994 Washington quarter, take a closer look. It might just be the one. Thanks for watching Coins Hunter USA, where we search, we discover, and we reveal the stories that coins are quietly waiting to tell. If you love rare coins, mysterious mint errors, and the thrill of the hunt, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with fellow treasure hunters. Because your next great discovery could be sitting right there, in the palm of your hand. Happy hunting, and may your next quarter be the one worth $99,000.